I guess anybody that knows me knows that I love for sale by owners. I know to many of you that sounds like really strange. I mean, how could you possibly love for sale by owners? And because I am known for having listed and sold a lot of FSBOs and absolutely loving them, I get a lot of questions around how to speak with a for sale by owner, how to make a presentation where you actually take a listing and I want to talk to you about today. I want to start by first. Um, my goal here with what I'm going to say next is to influence you to fall in love with for sale by owners the same way that I love them. For sale by owners have made me a fortune, and they can make you a fortune too. Why do I love them? Because for sale by owners are the only people you can speak with as a group of people where every single one that you talk to want to sell their house. Is that enough for you to fall in love with them? I mean, think about that. Your goal as a real estate agent who wants to be productive and profitable is to take listings. That is your job. That should be your only focus every single day when you get to work, right? And to be able to take listings, you got to find somebody who wants to sell that you could set an appointment with, that you can go present to, so you can take a well-priced listing that will sell and you get paid, and they're happy. The seller is happy. And again, there is not another group of people where 100% of the people that you talk to want to sell and don't have a real estate agent yet. I mean, this is huge. To me, because I'm not an analytical person, I don't stop and like, okay, let me think about this. No, this is just plain common sense. And I don't care, even if you are an analytical person, how are you going to analyze this and change what I just said? There is no challenging this. It is the way it is. And for that reason, for sale by owners are the single best prospects for you to be speaking with. Now, I understand the challenges that you may have because in different trainings and speaking and 15 years of experience working with real estate agents, I understand why agents don't call FSBOs or they will start and stop and they're not excited about it is because they don't know what to say. They don't know how to set an appointment. Now, if you use my script, you will set appointments. And my script can actually be downloaded for free at salesxtraining.com. You scroll down to the bottom of the page, of the home page, and you'll be able to download the FSBO script. Now, if you use that script, you're going to set appointments, not preview appointments. I mean, is a preview even considered an appointment? What is a preview? It's just a waste of your time because the seller is not allowing you to come preview their home so you can talk to them about why they should list with you, why it would benefit them to list with you. No, they're not interested in that. They're opening the door for you to take a look at the house and see if you have a buyer and they offer to pay you a commission. And that's it. It is a complete waste of your time. Now, setting a qualified listing appointment, completely different story, right? So use my script. Now, what's going to get you an appointment using my script is the dialogue of if I can show you a way where, and I'm paraphrasing my own script here because there's 15 different ways of saying this, and I don't even remember exactly which one of the many ways of saying this I actually put on the script that you will download. But the idea is if there's a way where I can show you how by working with me, you will end up with more money, net bottom line, even after my commission is paid, you would end up with more than if you sold it yourself. Is that something you'd be interested in looking at? And that conversation right there, if I can show you how working with me will net you more money, yeah, FSBOs want to hear about that. They may not say yes the first time you ask. That's why there's 15 different ways or even more of saying that, because you might have to go around this conversation. But eventually, when you use this type of conversation, you're going to get the appointment, because we know why a for sale by owner is a for sale by owner and not listed with an agent yet. And that is to save the real estate commission that we charge. They don't want to pay a commission. They don't see why they should pay a commission. They can think they can sell it for the same price that agents can sell it for. So why am I going to pay somebody to do something that I feel I can do? I'm not. I'm just going to sell it myself. So their motivation and reason for selling on their own is saving the commission. When you talk about netting more money than if they sold it on their own, not more than they're asking or what they need, that's not what I'm saying. And this is a very important distinction too. I'm not going to get into that on this video because this could end up being another hour conversation. But we're talking about more than they could sell on their own for. Now they're interested. They're not interested in, oh, where are you moving to? They're not interested in answering a bunch of questions that are totally irrelevant to a complete stranger who they're not interested in talking to. And unfortunately, for some of you who are listening right now, those are the scripts that you've been given, where you're asking 10 questions that are completely irrelevant to the for sale by owner that you're talking to. The only thing they're interested in is the money, saving commission, keeping the most money possible, selling for the most money possible, not spending money that they don't have to. And this is why this conversation of netting them more money, the commission being an investment and not an expense, that's what they want to hear. So now comes the challenge. Okay, I'm using this script, and they said, yes, sure, come in. I want to hear how you can net me more money than if I sold it myself. So what do you do when you get there? How are you going to show that to them? I'm going to give you a lot of points today. I'm going to help you out with this conversation at the actual for sale by owner listing appointment. But I want you to think about it this way. When you are calling a for sale by owner, understanding why they are a FSBO, which is to save the commission. If you don't know why they should pay you a commission, if you're not able to convey that message to them, where what they're paying you in money makes sense to them financially, if you're not able to do that, they shouldn't list with you. It makes zero sense. And I want you to put yourself in their situation. Why are they going to pay you to do something if you don't even think you can actually help them out financially? So understanding how you do that is critical, because otherwise, and I guess that's why most agents don't call for sale by owners, they start with the strategy of previewing. And could that work? Could you take listings by previewing FSBOs? Sure. And that's what I did for my first year in real estate. That's exactly, I didn't necessarily preview. I would preview because I didn't know how to have this conversation that I'm going to have with you right now. Okay. I had zero clue, but I would call, I'd follow up. They would allow me to come in to talk to them about listing the home, but I didn't have a specific conversation that made sense to a FSBO. I was showing up on these appointments to preview the home and talk to them about listing the home. And I was doing the same thing in terms of a listing presentation that I would do with anybody else. So, I mean, they're thinking, no, I just started. I'm not interested. I'm confident. I'm getting a lot of activity, all the typical objections that they get. So how are you going to approach this listing appointment? And I want you to think about it like this. For sale by owners have problems that cost them money. And how you're going to be able to net in more money is by being the solution to these problems. So, in essence, you're not trying to sell them on anything, you're just solving problems that cost them money. The challenge that you have is they don't think they have any problems. So, your conversation on a listing appointment with the FSBO is to help them understand that they have problems and how and why these problems cost them money. It's really educating them as to how real estate works, how the business works, how buyers think, how agents think, how the types of buyers out there. There's a lot of information that you can share with them. But it's really an educational situation here. And one thing that I tell my clients all the time, and this is so important, we know that what we say, the words, the scripts, are only 7% of communication. Communication is not what we say, it's what they hear. And we are responsible for what people hear. How many times have you said something with a certain intention and the person you said it to heard something completely different? In fact, you said it and they responded back with something you're like, where'd you get that? That's not what I said. That's what they heard. Now I get that people hear things, they process what we say, and they interpret through the filters of their programming. I get that. But at the same time, you have to take responsibility for what people hear, because how you communicate, what you say is critical, and I'm going to give you a lot of things that you can say, but how you say it has way more impact in what they hear than what it is you're saying. Because again, words are 7%, which means that 93% is a result of how you are saying it. How you are saying it is the other 93%. 38% is your tonality, and 55% body language. And body language, how you move your body, affects what people hear. So, for sale buyers have problems. They don't know they have problems. The biggest mistake you can make in going through this conversation with a FSBO, whether it's on a prospecting call or a presentation, is sound condescending. And that is a huge mistake real estate agents make. They speak down to the FSBO as like you wouldn't consciously choose to speak down to a for sale by owner, but a lot of real estate agents do. Like, I know better, this is not going to work, and you don't know what you're doing. And so you got to be really careful with that, okay? Because obviously nobody likes to be talked down to. And if you sound like that, your phone call or your appointment will be over real quick, because they're not interested in that, and they're going to hang up on you, or they're going to tell you to leave because they're busy, and they'll let you know, or whatever. So they have problems that cost them money that you can solve, because by solving these problems is how you net them more money. But they don't know they have problems. So what are some of the problems that for sale by owners have? The first problem is they have limited exposure. I want you to write that down. Limited exposure. Second problem, they're dealing with the types of buyers that they attract, for the most part, are bargain hunters. They're looking for a deal. Problem number 3, they're dealing with unqualified buyers. Biggest problem real estate agents have, biggest challenge, I should say, that real estate agents have, is separating the qualified, ready, willing, and able buyers from the rest of them, right? The people that are just looking around and will waste your time. Imagine you, as real estate agents, are challenged with that every single day. Can you imagine what it's like for a for sale by owner? Problem number four, no negotiating skills. Number five, legal liability. And number six, safety and security. Now, I'm going to take you through these one by one, and I'm going to give you some thoughts on it so you can start to understand this. Safety and security is not one that I often talk about with a for sale. I rarely, I cannot even remember. It's there and you should be aware of it, but it's not something that I'm going to give you scripts and dialogues because it's really not necessary. But I want you to think about this. Somebody rings your doorbell. You're sitting at home in the evening, 6 p.m. Somebody rings your doorbell. You have no idea who it is, but you open the door. It's a complete stranger, and they say to you, hey, is it okay if I come over and take a look at your house? Would you let him in to your home? And I want you to consider for a minute, that's exactly what for sale by owners do. I mean, I think about that because I, before I got a real estate license, I was a for sale by owner. I must have been out of my mind because it's like, I would never do that, right? Actually, where I live, there's security. Nobody can get in here without, like, yeah, they take your picture and ask for ID and stuff. But forget that. Who would actually open their door to a complete stranger and just let him walk through the house? Let me show you my house, my entire house. It's absurd, okay? And I'm not sure why for sale by owners don't actually think about that. But anyway, that's your safety and security for you. Let's go back to limited exposure. I want you to think about it this way. There's a law of economics called the law of supply and demand. And the law of supply and demand says that no matter what product or service you are selling or looking to sell, more demand equals more money. Period. It's a law. Whether you're selling a house, a car, or a pair of shoes, the more people that are interested in this product or service that you want to sell, the higher the price that this product or service will sell for. There's no getting around this, okay? This is how it is. Why is this relevant to a for sale by owner? Because nationwide in the United States, 92% of homes, and these are 2020 stats from NAR, 92% of homes sold in 2020 in the United States were agent-assisted sales. You want to write that down. So when you think about exposure, and for sale by owners, they understand the importance of exposure, of creating the most possible amount of demand for the property. That's why they, if they can, they put a sign in the yard. That's why they want to put it on hundreds of websites. That's why they may take professional photos. That's why they do open houses, because they're looking to attract buyers, create demand so they can sell it. And they're not necessarily thinking about law of supply and demand, but they understand that in order to sell this home, I got to attract buyers. So now it doesn't matter what a for sale by owner does to sell their home, or how they choose and what they choose to do to maximize the exposure or the demand. 92% of buyers are buying from a real estate agent. So you understand that just that alone, the exposure is very limited. Now, nobody wants to undersell their property. For sale by any homeowner would agree that they want to sell their home for the highest price the market will give them. They want to sell it for top market price. And when you think about this supply and demand, in order to sell the home for top market price, the highest price this market will give you, you need to expose this home to 100% of the buyers and 100% of the agents that are working with buyers. You need 100%. You're not going to get top market price with 10% or 20%. No, you got to go all out. And for sale by owners are not able to do that. I don't care what they do. Now, a common FSBO objection is, well, I can pay a company a flat fee and they'll put it in the MLS. And I'm sure, unless you're in a like tiny little market, there are plenty of real estate companies in your area that will do that. I'm not going to talk about it on this video because I could spend another half an hour talking about this. But that type of service, which is limited representation, because they do put it in the MLS, but they're not representing the seller. That's not going to give them 100% exposure, and it doesn't solve any of the other problems. Okay, they still have an exposure problem and they have all the other problems. But let's stay with the limited exposure. In order to sell this home for the highest possible price, they need 100% exposure. A for sale by owner doesn't have that. Now, why is it that 92% of buyers are using an agent to buy? Because buyers don't pay a real estate commission. Buyers can use the services of a licensed, professional, experienced real estate agent who's gonna sit down with them, ask them questions. What are you looking for? What area are you looking to buy? What is your price range? Recommend a few mortgage brokers, look at all the listings that are available in their MLS, schedule appointments, drive them around, show them homes, buy them lunch, write an offer, negotiate the offer, negotiate the terms, handle inspections, be there for the inspection, negotiate the repairs, walk through, handle everything that happens between contract to close, help them at the closing table, be there every step of the way. All of this is free to buyers. So I want you to actually write this question down and think about this. What's going to motivate a buyer to pass up all of the free services of a licensed, professional, experienced real estate agent and go directly to a for sale by owner? What's the motivation? They could use an agent for free. Not only, and I could have talked about this a little bit later, but I'm going to say now because it's totally relevant here. Not only are the services of the agent free to the buyer, the agent also has access to the entire inventory of homes for sale, where if this buyer decides to pass up the services of an agent and go directly to a FSBO, they have a limited number of homes that they can look at because they don't have access to the homes in the MLS unless they're using an agent. So why is a seller gonna limit the amount of homes they could look at and choose from and pass up all the free services of a real estate agent? It's to save money. And that takes us right to point number 2, which is bargain hunters. That is exactly what they're doing. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for a deal. A buyer that goes directly to a for sale by owner, do they know that that seller is not paying a real estate commission? Yeah. The commission, see, the FSBO is selling on their own to save the commission. The buyer knows the seller is not paying a commission. They're like, well, I can negotiate a better price. I can get a better deal. So who's going to save the commission? According to NAR in 2020, Average for sale by owner, that 8% that sold on their own, because 92 sold through an agent, so 8% they sold FSBO. The average for sale by owner in 2020 in the United States sold for 24% less than the agent assisted sales. Think about that. Does a FSBO know that? I started by saying they have problems they don't know they have. Do they know that? No, they don't know that. They have zero clue. And most real estate agents don't know that either because they're not studying their business. They're not experts. They don't know what's going on. So, no wonder most real estate agents are not able to have a conversation with a for sale by owner to help them understand the benefits and the value of paying them a commission. Because, how do you convince somebody of something you don't believe in? Or, something you don't know, it's impossible, right? Like, how are you going to have a conversation about something that you just doesn't exist in your mind? So, let's go back to average FSBO in 2020 sold for 24% less. Let's say you charge a 6% commission. A for sale by owner can pay you a 6% commission and still end up on average with 18% more net bottom line than if they were to sell it themselves. And the limited exposure is a huge reason why, because I'll take you back for a second, okay? Because I intended to do this and then I told you some other things. 100% exposure equals top market price. 8% exposure equals how much? Because they're exposing their property to 8% of the buyers as a FSBO. So how much? According to NAR in 2020, 24% less than top market price. So this is a huge conversation. There are a lot of examples, a lot of scripts and dialogues that you can use to help them understand this. I gave you some of it. My goal here is to help you understand the conversation. And this has to make sense to you. It needs to be logical to you because, again, you can't convince somebody of something you don't believe in. Bargain hunters, we already understand the motivation of a buyer to not use free services. Who doesn't like free stuff? You know anybody that doesn't like free stuff? I don't. Well, as long as it's good stuff, right? Yeah, buyers are all in. They're like, yeah. And when you think about this too, there are different types of buyers. Point number 3 in the problems they have are unqualified buyers. And by the way, you don't show up to a FSBO appointment and you say, well, Mr. FSBO, you have these 6 problems. And they go, it's not how you do it. It's a conversation. So you're painting a picture. So they're starting to connect the dots and say, oh, I get, yeah. This is what I'm doing with you right here. So unqualified buyers, biggest challenge real estate agents have. You may get endless numbers of buyer inquiries from the internet, sign calls, buyers walking into open houses. It doesn't matter where they're coming from. Only 4% of all these buyers that are coming from wherever are ready, willing, and able. So think about this, okay? You, as a real estate agent, you got to figure out how to separate the 4% from the rest of the people that are sometimes calling you. If you have a sign on a property and somebody happens to call and you answer the phone, buyers, they never say, yeah, no, I'm not really looking to buy right now. I just wanted to see, I may buy 6 months from now, a year from now. They don't sound like that. They're like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing their home. This home, can you come here and show it to me right now? It's urgent, they're ready, and they want you to stop everything you're doing and just go show them the home. And if you ask them, have you spoken with a mortgage broker? Are you qualified? many buyers, they get upset. Like, you're not supposed to be asking me this. Your job is to just come here, open the door, and show me the home. Unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents do that. And if you've done it, you know that it's a horrible thing, a horrible way to handle your time and your real estate career, because you don't get paid for showing homes. And if you've been in real estate for a little while, you already know that you can show 20, 30, 40, 50 homes to a buyer and you don't get paid for that unless you get a property under contract and it closes. You don't get paid. Now, it's challenging for real estate agents to ask enough great qualifying questions to separate the lookers from the ready, willing, and able. Can you imagine the challenge that FSBOs have with this? I mean, stop to think about it. FSBOs, when they get a call from somebody and they say, well, yeah, I saw you have your house for sale. I'd like to look at your home. They're like, come on in, let's go. Can't wait for me to show you my house. Complete stranger. I have no idea who this is. I have no idea if you could buy it or not, or when you're buying, or you have a house to sell. Or, no clue. Come on in. And now, if we tie this into the fact that 92% of buyers are going to buy from an agent, or in 2020 bought from an agent. These stats from NAR, since I've been in real estate since 1996, and these these stats have not really changed that much. I mean, they go up and down a little bit, but this has been pretty consistent. I've never seen it, very far from the 90% or a little bit higher. So if we tie that into this conversation of the unqualified buyers, 4% are ready, willing, and able. And out of that 4%, 92% are going to buy from an agent. So when you think about it, when a for sale by owner says to you, oh yeah, I'm getting a lot of activity and I'm getting a lot of people looking at the house. Okay, what exactly does that mean? Is that so exciting? Like, is it the number of people you have looking at the house that matters, or the quality of the people that are looking at your house? Because honestly, I mean, if you were selling your house, are you interested in showing your house to people that are not ready, willing, and able to buy right now? Why would anybody do that? Again, complete waste of time. Now, no negotiating skills. This is a huge conversation. Problem number 4. Do they think they're not qualified to negotiate on the sale of their home? No. They're like, oh yeah, I got it all figured out. Oh, I have an attorney that's gonna handle the contract for me. Attorneys do not negotiate price and terms. Attorneys don't market the property to maximize, create 100% exposure. Attorneys don't separate lookers from buyers. Attorneys don't negotiate price and terms. They don't do that. They'll write the contract. They will read the contract and tell the seller, this is what you're signing and this is what it means. And the number one advice, if there's a negotiating advice that attorneys will give sellers, is, oh, you want an as is offer. As if, when you do an inspection, you're selling it as is, so you're not obligated to make repairs. What a huge mistake that is. Because an as is contract without a repair clause, a 0.5%, 1%, 2%, if it's a simply as is offer, what it means is, and hey, I sold a lot of homes and I coach a lot and train a lot of agents, and I've done it for many years. This is the way attorneys typically recommend that they negotiate the inspection clause. So if it is a straight up as is offer, the seller is not obligated to make any repairs, and the buyer is also not obligated to buy this home. So if they find a minor repair that costs $50 to take care of, Based on an as-is contract without a repair clause, that buyer can walk away. The buyer can say they could change their mind for any reason. Whereas if you have a repair clause, a certain amount, the seller has the option to make that repair and keep this contract in place. Now, that's just one of the many things. Real estate agents that are true, knowledgeable, experienced professionals, they'll be able to negotiate the highest price, the best terms of this contract. They're able to actually negotiate appraisal issues, which they happen. A property doesn't appraise. A great real estate agent might be able to foresee if there's going to be an appraisal issue and help their client negotiate in a way that either the buyer is going to pay above appraisal, or they'll be able to provide comparables to the appraiser and have conversations with the appraiser. Inspections, repairs, walkthrough. There's so many at the closing table. Sometimes there are repairs related to the walkthrough that a great agent will be able to protect the financial interest of their client. So there's a lot involved here. And the next problem is legal liability. Now, when you think about legal liability, now I'm thinking about it. When I gave you the problems in the beginning, I believe I mean, legal liability is a big one. So I believe that I mentioned it to you. Legal liability is something that you as an agent, your broker requires you to carry a no insurance. And there's certain things that a for sale by owner would, I mean, a simple seller's disclosure, okay? Having a detailed, completed seller's disclosure provided to the buyer will protect the seller. There's so many different, not just the contract itself, but there's different paperwork that is involved, disclosures, lead-based paint disclosure, radon, whatever is involved. There's so much involved that a for sale by owner has no idea, no clue, and it could potentially end up costing them a fortune in the future. Most of the lawsuits in real estate in this country involve unrepresented buyers and sellers. Most of them. Could a real estate agent and a client that they're representing be involved in a lawsuit? Of course, that can happen. But most of them are unrepresented buyers and sellers. And of course, the last one I gave you is safety and security, and we talked about that in the beginning. I don't like really speaking with FSBOs a whole lot about safety and security because you don't want to use it as a scare tactic, because that's just never a good thing. But I want you to keep it in the back of your mind because it is a concern. And could you at some point in your conversation just bring it up to them to get them to think about who they're opening their door to, and is it safe for them and their families. But the truth is, all the other problems that they have are, I mean, I shouldn't say more important than their safety and security, but they certainly affect the finances, the money aspect, which is what's most important to them. And here's the fun part about this. You, as a great real estate agent, you can solve all these problems. And it's like I said in the beginning, by solving the problems that cost them money, you're able to net them more money. And that's how they see that paying you money to represent them is worth it. It's an investment. It's going to keep them from losing money. It's going to make them money. And when you're able to show that, FSBOs will list with the first agent who can show them that paying the commission makes financial sense. And if you're not able to show that, well, then you don't deserve the listing. That's plain and simple. Now, some FSBOs will list with an agent when they get tired of what they're doing and they realize it's not working. Some of them will come to that conclusion even without seeing any value. They're like, well, this is not working. I need to move. So here, Whoever's in front of them at the time will get the listing. So that's like a obviously a hit or miss, and you're not in control. When you learn and master this conversation, you choose how many FSBOs you want to list every week. Absolute gold mine. You can make a fortune doing it. Let me know if you have any questions. You can go to salesxtraining.com. You can request a call. You can send us an email. And I trust that you got a lot of great stuff that will make you a lot of money with FSBOs. See you soon.